Hey there, friendlies, how's up? Welcome to a slightly different episode for the Dribs Drams YouTube channel. This time, what I want to do is essentially an idea I got from, I think it was the No Nonsense Whisky channel. He did a roundup of his whiskey collection as of, I think it was the end of 2020. My collection is nowhere near as large as his, but I still thought it was a pretty good exercise. So this is my whiskey collection as of the start of 2021. First off, a little sippy poo. So good. Okay, so I've got a couple of categories here, by which I don't mean here are my bourbons, here are my scotches, here are my whatever blends. I mean, I have some that are opened, some that I bought for specific contexts, and some that are just everyday drinkers. So I'll start with the bottles I bought to review on this channel and that I have opened so far. So the first one is the first one that I actually did on this channel. This is the Bricklady Classic Laddie. I enjoy it greatly. I was hoping that I was going to like it as much as I did because everything that I have read or know about Bricklady I like and I respect, and of course that's my that's the source of my Octomore that I loved so well. I have one problem with this bottle though, and that's that it's like opaque from stem to stern, which means that I have no idea if I have this much scotch left or like this much. It kind of feels like I'm around there. And I hadn't really realized that at the time because it's such a cool looking bottle and blah, blah, blah. And it wasn't until I think I was watching the Whiskey Dictionary where he was on about like how dark the bottles were, and if he couldn't really see through it, he didn't know how much he had left. And so I think, because this isn't even transparent on the bottom, right? And I think that what they could stand to do is have like a transparent strip down the side or something, just so that you know where you are. I mean, they're not listening. They're not going to change it for me. But anyways, it's something that would make me like that bottle design better. That is for sure. Of course, there's the Latrick 10. Also a very good dram. Something I noticed about this bottle though. Right there it says Latrick 10, which is fine. And on the side, it says product of Scotland, Scotch, whiskey aged 12 years. Non-chill filtered. I hope that's showing up. So I pinged them about that. I said, yo man, what's up? And they said, trust us, it's 10-year-old. Thanks for the heads up. What I think this probably was is like a copy-paste error while they're localizing labels for the Canadian market or something, because this label is in English and French, so it's obviously been localized. That's the only thing I can think of. It's funny, I find stuff like that on whiskey bottles a lot. Next, the Amrit, which I think is again a very nice surprise. And when I bought this, I was looking for the Fusion. But when I walked into the SAQ, there was no Fusion left, but this one was there. So I was like, oh, all right, let's give it a try. And I'm glad I did. As you guys know, let me just move this so that we can see it here. Some of these I've opened and shot reviews of, but they're not up yet because, you know, I have 2 channels and 2 children. So time is of the essence. Here, this is this is embarrassing. When I shot my review, I was calling this Edradour. I live in Quebec, so OU is always an OO sound. But I have since learnt that I believe it's actually pronounced Edradour. So, when the review goes up, throw me a bone here, guys. Don't take me down or nothing. Here's another one that I was very pleased to find because it's not that frequently found here in Quebec. This is the Balblair 12. I would like to know why they went to an age statement instead of a vintage statement on their bottles. I find that this branding is much, much better than the old, but I don't know. I thought it was cool that they were doing vintage statements instead of age statements. Still, it's still a very, very nice whiskey. I like it quite a bit. I like the bottle design as well. It fits well in the hand, and I'm glad to have it. Now, this was a revelation. This was a revelation, but this was too, because I had never seen an English whiskey in a liquor store here in Quebec before. They had this one, which is the Smoky English. This is by St. George's Distillery. Sorry, guys. They had this one, which is the Smoky, and they had an unsmoky or non-smoky. I don't remember, but I was like, there's a smoky one. Yoink. And it's non-chill filtered. I don't know if there's caramel coloring in it, though. I'm not sure about that. But it's a tasty whiskey, and this is very, very Scotch adjacent. When I tasted it, I immediately recognized a lot of the scents and flavors that I consider my home base in whiskey, coming from a position of having started out with, Lagavulin, Bowmore. I'm a peat head, okay? I like that. I like smoky, I like peaty, I like briny. I like that stuff. I don't know if I'm getting everything on screen, but it's not that big a deal. And then here was the Gooderman Warts 49 Wellington, which I said was very good for a Canadian whiskey, and I still stand by that. In fact, as these whiskeys sort of oxidize a bit more, and they're down to about there rather than up there, they're opening up better. All of them are. I'm going to have a hard time not finishing some of them off before I can do my follow-up review in a couple of months. But yeah, this is apparently their Northern Harvest or Northern Borders collection or whatever. This is apparently like a special edition, and it might be limited. I'm not entirely sure. I have read that the non-49 Wellington 4-grain blend is not nearly as good as this. So maybe I'll pick it up at some point and do an AB or something. Let me know if you guys would be interested in that, if I can find it. Again, aside from the Latrick and the Bricklady here, none of these are a guaranteed find when I walk into not even my local SAQ, any SAQ. So that's what I've bought and opened and shot a review of. Excuse me. Just had to lubricate. So stuff I've bought to review and not yet opened. Let me just clear the deck a little bit here. Just because, there we go. Just because I have more bottles to put. Stuff I have bought to review and not yet reviewed. As follows. Kilkerran 12. I don't like the aesthetic on this bottle. It's got kind of a cool 1974 thing happening and all that, but meh. What I do like is the color, because what we're talking about here is not chill filtered and no caramel coloring. I have also heard that for a 12-year, this is a very good bottle. Most of what I have right now is 10 or 12 years, just for financial reasons. But I'm looking forward to getting into this. This is a Campbelltown, I believe. And I have never had a Campbelltown before. Yes, it says Campbelltown right on the label. And it's a 46%. I mean, this thing hits like all my check boxes. So I'm excited to get into that. What else did I order to review here? This one I'm not sure if I'm going to do. I bought this because I wanted to try Japanese whiskey. The thing is, this one doesn't do what I'm really, really interested in, right? I want to pick up a bottle at some point. This is going to have to be a bucket list thing just due to cost, but I would like to pick up a bottle that is aged in Mizunara oak and that has a recognizable Mizunara characteristic. And I know that means it's a lot of money. They have to age for a long time for that characteristic to really come through. I get it. But I'm whiskey curious. I wanted to try Japanese whiskey. This Yoichi single malt is apparently quite good and fairly indicative. And I'm not sure if I want to review it or not, because it doesn't hit any of the check boxes. Interesting thing, on their website and everything, it says that it's bugger. Okay, that black spot right there is where it says 45% alcohol by volume. Obviously, the government of Quebec tests whiskeys because they mark that out and they replaced it with a sticker that says 45.5%. I saw them do that with a lot of Japanese. I don't know if they're all Nika or if it's just Japanese in general, but that was interesting. I don't know. Think I should review it? I haven't opened it because I wasn't sure if I was going to review it or not. And I am looking forward to opening it. Bareface. This is a new Canadian whiskey, 7-year, triple oak. I believe it's like an American oak, like a French or something, and then it just finishes off in a Hungarian, if I have that right. Aged 7 years in ex-bourbon barrels, 70 days in French oak red wine barrels, and 7 days with a new Hungarian oak for a spice finish. I don't know. I'm curious. I'm hoping that I'm going to pop this baby open and be like, wow, for a Canadian whiskey, that's really good. But I don't know. We will see. We will see. Okay, today we find out what people voted for the live stream tasting. After sending out that 3 Scotch list and reading up on the 3 choices, I decided, you know what, no matter what, I'm going to buy a bottle of this. If it doesn't go for the live tasting, I'll just do a review of it, because I'm very interested in tasting what's in this bottle. It hits many of my checklist boxes, and I read good things about it, and I've seen good things about it on the YouTubes. So, I'm looking forward to seeing that baby get opened. Excuse me while I lubricate. Here's some bottles that I've just have opened as like a daily sipper kind of thing. The Rosemont Whisky de Montreal it's a micro distillery here in Montreal. They do a lot of gins, like many. They do, excuse me. They do limited editions. They do core editions. They have spice. They have maple, because everyone's got maple in this province. It's terrible. And they make this whiskey, no age statement or anything, and it's really hard to find. I haven't seen a bottle of this in months. I finally just sort of, guys, was it a limited edition or something? Excuse me. And the response was, no, it's a very small batch whiskey. We have another tiny batch coming out. Keep an eye on the SAQ. Buy one when you see it. What do we got here? Fabriqué avec maïs. No, English. Made from corn, barley, wheat. Slightly filtered, may contain deposits. It's good. It's not as interesting as that 49 Wellington, that's for sure. It's a little on the sort of the sweet side, but still, it's a good sort of easy sipping, 42%. You know, kick back after a long day, and you don't really want to work for it. You just want like a nightcap. That's fine. That works. I know, me too. But I was gifted this, and it sat there, and it's actually, here's what happened. I did a little blind tasting, right? And this one, when I tasted it like this, instead of seeing the label, like when I took my eyes out of the equation and my own absolute snobbish approach to Glenfiddich, for 40%, it had a beautiful taste. It's a very capable whiskey. Once you're not looking at the label, once you don't know what it is, it's much better than you think. Is it something that I grab for a lot? No. This was given to me like last year, and it's taken me this long to get down to this, but it's another sort of easy sipper. It's a 40%. It's got a little sherry thing happening. I think it's an Oloroso. Yeah. Oloroso and bourbon casks, so that's where sort of some of the vanilla notes come from and everything, but I wouldn't mind having another bottle of this around, just to have if someone comes over. Do you like Scotch? I think I might. Here you go. That's what that bottle's for. And I'm such a snob about these kind of things. And so what I like about this bottle and why I might just keep buying it is because it made me sort of stop and Jess, you're such a snob. You know? But anyways, it's not a cheap bottle, but it's not super expensive either. I think it's a capable whiskey. It's usable. It's definitely a good sort of bar cart whiskey to have. This is currently my only bourbon, and it's not the bourbon I usually buy. My workhorse bourbon is the Woodford Reserve Straight. I use bourbon for cocktails more than sipping. And I was doing a cocktail on my other channel. I'll put a link to that here. And the subscriber that I named it after came back to me with a suggestion for a change, so I did a second video on that. But for the second video, I had run out of Woodford like the day before, and I ran out to the SAQ, and there was no Woodford to be had. This is sort of in the same spectrum as the Woodford, so it's a good stand-in for cocktails. The way Knob Creek is not. I have a hard time with Knob Creek. I actively like Woodford, and this is on the Woodford side of the flavor spectrum. I wouldn't mind having another bottle of this when it's done. It's just for mixing. It's purely for cocktails. There's no way I'm going to pour myself a dram of this. This is the first bottle of this I've ever had. Most of these are the first bottles of this I've ever had. I've had this before. Aside from that, these are all first-time bottles for me. I was standing there, I was looking at this or the Johnny Walker Red. They were the exact same price, and I'm not buying Johnny Walker. So I just grabbed this. I don't know if I made the right choice or not. I haven't had Johnny Walker in so long that this doesn't smell to me. Like on the nose, this is different. But I haven't had Johnny Walker in so long that I don't know if I'm even right about that, or if I'm just telling myself that. So next I have bottles that I bought not to review, but just to have around, and they're not open yet. The first one, Aaron 10. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to review the Aaron 10. What I'm saying is this specific bottle is not going to be opened yet. This bottle is for an experiment I'm going to do. I put the date that I bought this bottle on here, bought September 17th, 2020. And so I'm going to keep it for 10 years. So let's just pretend I do it on the exact 10th anniversary. So on September 7th, 2030, I will buy an Aaron 10 that's new that year. And then I'm going to open them both and see if there's, well, no, there has been. See what the flavor drift was between those two decades. Why I picked the Aaron 10. One thing I know about Aaron 10 is it really punches above its price range. It's very affordable, so it's a bottle I don't feel that buying and putting away for 10 years kicks me in the wallet. And also, there are like 6 of these left in Quebec. I tried to buy a second one to do a review on now last week, and according to the SAQ website, there are 6 left. 2 are in a local SAQ that I can't buy at because it's for restaurants only. And then the closest one is 270 kilometers away. And I think it's because they've just changed all their branding. Like in Alberta, they've got the new bottles already and everything. They changed their branding to coincide with them opening that second distillery on the other side of the island for peated whiskeys, which I can't wait to try, I gotta tell you. So it just seemed like, yeah, this is the one to do. So yeah, that's sort of an Anaraki idea that I got from, I think it was Ralphie. It's funny, I'm out of Jameson right now. This is the only Jameson I got. It's the Caskmates, the Stout edition. There is a Caskmates IPA edition, But IPAs kind of make me dry heave, so I'm not spending the money on an IPA infused or flavored or, essenced whiskey. That's for sure. This is the second of these bottles I have owned. I very much liked the previous bottle of this, so I bought another one. It's not open yet. That's not because I'm keeping it for posterity or anything. I haven't gotten around to it. But it does remind me that I need to pick up another bottle of the regular run-of-the-mill Jameson. I like this better than the regular run-of-the-mill Jameson, but it's good to have around anyway. It's my favorite Canadian whiskey. I do wish this was at like 45%. It's at 43. It's 100% rye. It's the newer, I think, green label. There's an older one that's a straight-up yellow label, and I think it's an unmalted rye. I don't know, but there's some. They treat the rye differently in this one than they did. Apparently, it's changed the flavor a little bit. I don't know. I have only ever bought the green label, and as far as Canadian whiskey goes, this is the top one for me. I haven't tried everything yet though, and I haven't tried a whole lot of 100% rye. But what I like about this is that it's straight up rye. There's no corn or anything in there, so I know what I'm getting when I open this bottle. It's very good in certain cocktails, and I'll just sip on this a little bit, depending on the night, right? Depending on how I'm feeling. I don't just open bottles at random. It's very much what do I feel like having tonight? This is the Scotch Malt Whisky Society Coastal Landscape with Smoke. That's 4.242. So the 4, I'm just trying to show you guys the 4. There we go. The 4 is the distillery, 4 being Highland Park, I think. And then 242 is the number of casks they've bought from that distillery. So this is the 242nd cask. Unopened. I kind of don't want to open this until the plague leaves us alone, because I buy these in Alberta and I can't get to Alberta right now. That makes me sound way more jet set than I am. I play bass for a Celtic band, and every summer we go and do a Celtic festival up at Abraham Lake. So I'm there often enough that I could get a society membership and go to the Kensington Wine Market in Calgary and pick up some bottles. Because I can't really do that right now, and shipping bottles is a chore, and I'm going to get to that in about a minute. I can't afford to buy 2 of these at once, okay? So I will open a bottle, love it, and know that I can never get it again. And that is what happened with this one. Salt and Vinegar Kelp. Guys, this bottle was exquisite. This bottle was something else. Briny, smoky, peaty, just like minerals, just beautiful. Everything I love in one bottle. It's not heavily peated. It's sort of what's the number here? 53,266. This is a Kalila, and I can never have it again because they're sold out. And in this, this was a hogshead, a refill hogshead. So they only got 272 bottles out of it, and I got one of them. But I dearly wish I'd bought a second one. I also, here, this is like the recently finished category, I guess. This 80.10, so that's a Glen Spey. This is a very different, this was sort of, what does it say here? A neat combination of vintage champagne, roses, creme patisserie, chocolate mints, and expensive shoe leather. Sounds like a good night out. This is kind of this is way outside my usual palate. But the reason I bought this is because I'm developing the same thing with scotches and whiskeys as I have with beer, whereby I have recently changed from someone who's like all stout all the time to all stout all the winter, and then in summer I want something lighter. And I've found that my flavor profile for whiskey is sort of doing the same thing. Colder weather, I'm all about the peat because I'm a peat head. That's where I come from. That's still what I love the most. But when it's hotter weather, and it's like 30 degrees in Montreal kind of thing, what I'm looking for is trends further from the peat. This was very sprightly. This was very fresh, very sunny. It's sort of effervescent. In fact, I think American bottling of this, instead of being called Champagne and Roses, was Effervescence, I believe, and Roses, because there's a legal thing about having the word champagne on a bottle that doesn't have champagne in it. But yeah, so this was eye-opening. I enjoyed it. I would not have bought this one again, but what it's done is open my mind to a whole different side of the flavor profiles available to us in Scotch. And the thing is, these guys, I'm buying most of these untasted, but they haven't let me down yet. So, it's an okay experiment to have. Oh yeah, that one's finished as well. Oh. I keep it around, and every now and again I nose it. There's like a Band-Aid kind of iodine thing happening. That was so good. I'm gonna miss that. Salt and Vinegar Kelp. That was a Kalila 10-year refill hogshead ex bourbon. It had all those. It was coastal. So that's what I got. That's where I am right now. No, that's not. I have another category that I call the Trapped in Calgary category. I have it written down here. These are bottles that I bought when I didn't realize that I wasn't going to be able to go and get them anytime soon. So, scotches that are on the way and are currently trapped in Calgary. I have a Wolfburn Aurora. About that because when Wolfburn started producing again, I got whatever was the very first release they did as a working distillery again. I don't remember what it was called, but I got like a bottle from batch 1 that my fiddler Peter brought me from Calgary, and it was delish. So I bought that to do a review on. I have a small bottle coming of a Shelter Point Smoke Point. I don't know anything about it. Small bottles are very, very affordable. It's like 100 ml or something. It's a tiny, tiny little bottle. There's a bottle of the Single Malts of Scotland Latrick. I just called it Latrick. Sorry, Latrick. I know all the anoraks are like, what? Sorry, guys. A Finlagan Old Islay Single Cask Strength. Know nothing about it. It was almost like an impulse buy. Well, you can't really impulse buy when you're buying online 4,400 kilometers away, but anyway. And I have 2 more society bottlings coming. One is called Dancing a Duet. That's 59.5 second point. Right? 59.57. The 59 is apparently Teenanick. I've never tasted anything from Teenanick. I didn't even know they existed. But I went with the bottle description. I was like, I'm trying that. And another society bottling is Happy in the Potting Shed, which is 13.64. So 13 is Dalmore. So I'm looking forward to trying that. And arriving today, the Kensington Wine Market offers a service whereby you put a note in, put it on the shipping list, they pack it up for you, charge you for the packaging but not labor, and then you call the UPS across the store, UPS goes and picks it up and ships it to you. Here's the thing. They add an extra $15 on to cross the street and grab the bottle and I guess fill out the paperwork, right? So the shipping charge on this one bottle is 51 Canadian dollars. So I'm not doing it again. It was just to see, what the price would end up being, to see if that was maybe an affordable or attractive at any rate way to get my bottles here. No way. And what that is, it's another society bottling from the current outturn called Burial at Sea. It's a 53 317, so it's another Kalila. So those are coming. These are here. That's all my whiskeys. Yeah, I guess that's all she wrote. So thanks for hanging out with me while I went through my collection. If you like what I'm doing, I want you to do the following 3 things. First of all, make a comment down below. Think there's something here that I should really, really try? Is there something that's a little older, like an 18-year-old or something that isn't too expensive that you think I should really get into? Have you tried most or some or any of these and really didn't like them or love them? Do any of them make you think that there's something else I should get? Aside from that, please share this video, that helps me, and leave me a smiley thumb. If you don't like what I'm doing, that's all right. Leave me a frowny thumb. Thanks for watching, guys.